So Florida says it's out. It's officially banning, or that's what I'm seeing here. It's officially banning lab-grown meat. Now, what does that say about everyone else? Why are they taking such a strong stance and nobody else is, or at least I haven't heard? Are there any other states? But just wait, we're going to get to it. You know how this goes, all right? So, question everything. You should. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's check it out.
Take your fake lab-grown meat elsewhere. We're not doing that in the state of Florida.
That's the message behind the bill Governor DeSantis signed Wednesday. It takes aim at meat grown by scientists in a lab, making it a crime to manufacture or sell cultivated meat in Florida.
What they want to say is this is the same as raising cattle and doing it naturally, then there's no reason that you have this industry. So it is designed to represent a threat to agriculture as we know it.
And supporters say the new law offers protections to Florida's cattle industry.
It's never been more important than today to protect Florida.
Have y'all noticed cows don't even look the same no more? It's almost scary at this point to look at certain animals that we consume. They don't even look the same as we remember them when we were kids, bro. There's a whole different species of animals they feeding us these days. I don't like it.
Florida's farmers and ranchers, and that's what this legislation does.
But opponents say concerns about lab-grown meat are overblown. Federal regulators have already said some products are safe and ready to eat after receiving FDA approval last year, a point made by cultivated meat industry members during the legislative session.
Cultivated meat is safe, period. We make our chicken with a safe process in a safe environment, and USDA inspectors are on site during operations at all times, from beginning to end.
Others have argued this law threatens the free market and is too short-sighted.
By potentially criminalizing cultivated meat, poultry, and seafood, this bill stifles innovation, limits consumer choice and free market principles, and undermines
I don't know, man. I think eating lab-grown meat is going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back, and it's going to be over for us. I even wonder what's the shelf life on lab-grown meat. Is there even going to be an expiration date on it?
Okay, we listen and we don't judge. Yes, I have 7 kids. And I am currently pregnant right now with my 8th child. 7 baby daddies and another one. I got 8 baby daddies. Yes, we're getting 3K in food stamps. Yes, we are killing it, honey.
Now, if I say something, I'm a bully. I'm gonna say this.
She said she is killing right now. Meaning she in her mind, she's on a great path. I want to say success, but I don't know if that's the right word to use that she wants to use. Let me not speak for her. Just what I'm hearing, I don't know, man. It's throwing me off. It's really that simulation there, because they know they say everybody's in a different simulation, but I don't want to go to that one.
Sometimes the left's agenda of pushing for certain things makes sense to me.
We are killing it. No, I'm not ashamed. I've been a mom since age 14.
EBT member of the week. Congrats. Let's get at him.
Okay, we listen and we don't.
So, all right, y'all listen. Are y'all judging? I have to ask, are y'all judging? Are y'all gonna leave a review? Is it gonna be 5 stars? Is it gonna be 1 star? How do y'all feel about this whole situation right now? I need a Yelp review for this.
Hey y'all, it's me and I'm back. Look at this bacon. I literally bought this from Aldi. It looks disgusting. I just want to make this video and let y'all know that the food that they're serving us is not real. The stuff that they're having us buy is not real. It looks crazy. Be very mindful. I literally still cooked it just to show y'all. It's shriveled up. It's all fake. That's fake. It has to be fake. But then I got some real bacon from Sam's, and look at the difference. Like, it's not falling apart. That looks like real meat. You get what I mean? So please be careful while you're out there. Take your time. Look at the difference. Hey, y'all.
I ain't gonna lie. Looking at bacon from this point of view makes me go, ugh. But when I cook it, it makes me go, yay. Bacon. I love it. But I gotta stop. Just looking at this, the way she's presenting it, then when it was cooked, the after effects. I wonder why I couldn't see that before. I was blinded by bacon. I ain't gonna lie. I'm a bacon lover. I am. But I gotta kick this habit because I know that's not good for me.
Hold on to your jelly bellies because the FDA has just banned red dye number 3 in the U.S. What does this mean for you and your favorite candies? Let's go down the list of what candies are going to be affected by this. It's not just candy too, so just think of foods that have like that really, really bright red color.
Man, but what she's saying, is that a strawberry shortcake pop behind it? That's what it used to be called when you get them in school, the ice cream, strawberry shortcake ice cream or whatever it was. It was so good. Oh my God, I haven't had one of those since probably like middle school. Those, oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Back to whatever she was saying. I missed the first part. I'm going to just start it over.
Hold on to your jelly bellies because the FDA has just banned red dye number 3 in the U.S. What does this mean for you and your favorite candies? Let's go down the list of what candies are going to be affected by this. It's not just candy too, so just think of foods that have like that really, really bright red color. Things like this, like the Pillsbury Funfetti Mix. A nostalgic one, the Double Bubble Original Twist Bubblegum. The Trolley Sour Crunchy Crawlers are also on the list, but don't get it mistaken. Like, not all the Trolley gummies, because, you know, we love those. Just these in particular. I wouldn't think that this would be on the list just because I think of the color red, and this has orange, yellow, white. But yeah, the Branches candy corn is on the list. A childhood favorite, strawberry milk. The ban doesn't mean that these products with red dye 3 are going to be off the shelves like tomorrow. The companies have until 2028 to reformulate their products. So do your research, see what else is on the list if you're interested to find out. I know a lot of people are actually really happy about this. What do you think? Hold on.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. I know what it needs to be done, but that don't mean I have to be happy about it because I'm not. Like, Double Bubble was like a Halloween night candy, bro, that you got a lot in your Halloween bag because people went out last minute and got Halloween candy, and those was the only things left on the shelves a lot of times. So you typically got a lot of that Double Bubble. Candy corn, though? Candy corn? This stuff is just un-American.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is big news. I'm not kidding. This is actually big news. There was no director of the FAA when the crash occurred last night. The director of the FAA stepped down on January 20th after Elon Musk told him to. In September, the director had proposed fines on Elon Musk of more than $600,000 for SpaceX, prompting Musk to demand his resignation. Michael Whitaker resigning means that there was no Senate-confirmed leader or one of the biggest crises in its history because he quit. So let me get this straight. Elon Musk demanded that the FAA administrator quit because he proposed a $600,000 fine on SpaceX and no one was put in place? How negligible can you be? This administration is a complete and utter disaster and a total show. Absolutely hideous.
Trump rolled back regulations on food. Then suddenly we start to receive callbacks on foods related to diseases. Donald Trump gets back in office, tells the CDC to be quiet. Also tells WHO, who, remember that, said we're pulling out of that, the World Health Organization. Suddenly we start to get the bird flu, chicken, run it back. Who? WHO. Don Julio. Don Julio is collabing with Popeye's chicken, bird flu. We will not have any communication about the recalls of that chicken. But wait, Don Julio ex Popeyes, get off that Don Julio ex the Fulio. Companies are rolling back their DEI initiatives. There will no longer be any Black Santa Claus in Target this year. Black History Month is next month. George Washington had the Washington, D.C. named after him. Right. Trump wrote.
I swear I want to study some of y'all's brain. How she just did that and connected those dots and came up with that. I don't even care if it's not true or it doesn't make, like, the way she did that was masterful, and people, I just want to study their brain. Now, I don't know some creepy stuff or nothing like that. No Hannibal Lecter or nothing like that. You know, I'm just saying, to be able to do that, that's talent. That's crazy.
A bill has been proposed to put Trump on Mount Rushmore, and it's probably going to pass. Florida Representative Anna Paulina Luna has proposed this bill in order for Rushmore to, quote, update its historical accuracy. In 2020, rumors flew that Trump asked the South Dakota government to put him on Mount Rushmore. The White House then came out and denied this. But now this is becoming a real reality that the House, the Senate, and the presidency is held by Republicans, meaning they have the majority to pass this bill and put Trump on Mount Rushmore. Let's put this in real world terms. Now, what Republican is going to go to Donald Trump and go, I'm going to vote no to put you on Mount Rushmore because you're not important enough? There's not a lot that would do that, especially in the Senate. Because given that this bill is simply just an ego boost for Trump, what senator really has the balls to vote no against that? Because let's say you were the sole reason that Trump was not added to it. He would know this, everyone would know this, and you would probably either get voted out of office or Don would make a phone call. This bill is getting proposed and the House will vote on it sometime next week. So make sure to follow for updates on this because this could pass.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. If Trump goes or they add him to Mount Rushmore, go to the store and get you some plywood or whatever you need to board your house up. And then you're going to be on the inside. Just board up the outside and everything like that. Because you're going to need to stay in there for like a few months. Because it's going to be all out war on the streets, man. I'm telling you, bro. If that, it's going to be crazy. You want to keep you and your family safe, so just stay inside. That's what I'm going to do, bro. And let this whole purge take place because they going to go crazy.
I do want to take you to this post on X, though, that comes in from Representative Luna. This is out of Florida, and she has introduced legislation, she says, to carve President Trump's face onto Mount Rushmore. You can see this post here again on Twitter. She did say in a release here today, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna introduced legislation to arrange the carving of President Donald J. Trump on the iconic Mount Rushmore National Memorial in South Dakota. The bill aims to honor President Trump, the 45th and 47th President of the United States, for his transformative impact on America and the historical significance of his leadership. The proposal emphasizes the consequential accomplishments made under President Trump's leadership, including economic growth, national security, and a foreign policy that brought peace to the world and put America first. Congresswoman Luna did release a further statement saying, quote, President Trump's bold leadership and steadfast dedication to America's greatness have cemented his place in history Mount Rushmore, a timeless symbol of our nation's freedom and strength, deserves to reflect his towering legacy, a legacy further solidified by the powerful start to his second term. He will forever be remembered among the great like presidents of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Theodore Roosevelt. Again, you can see this post coming in as she put her photo next to his photo. That is the official portrait of President Donald Trump released by his campaign, and also a photo, kind of hard to see, but it is in the top portion of your screen, and that is where they photoshopped it to add President Donald Trump's face onto Mount Rushmore. So if you are just joining us, Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna of Florida introducing that legislation to arrange the carving of President Trump on the iconic Mount Rushmore. If this bill, this legislation goes any further, of course, we'll make sure to let you know right here on Live Now from Fox. And if Representative Luna does make a comment or hold a news conference of any kind on this, you can watch it right here as well on Live Now from Fox. I do want to take you to the...
There was a term growing up that we gave for somebody like that. I think, oh yeah, teacher's pet. Yeah. She really pouring it on thick. She definitely. I don't know what she trying to get done, what she lobbying for, what position she wants, but she's not holding back, bro.
So they want to put Trump on Mount Rushmore. There's a House bill right now, H.R. 792, that was introduced by Representative Anna Paulina Luna from Florida, Republican, titled "To Direct the Secretary of Interior to Arrange for the Carving of the Figure of President Donald J. Trump on Mount Rushmore National Memorial." Cult. I just want to say we called it because of a bill that we read previously. On January 16th, another Republican, this is Celeste Malloy from Utah, introduced H.R. 521 to reserve Congress the authority to establish or extend a national monument. That was something that we were like, that's really weird and suspicious. They're probably going to try and put some monument up or something. Then, as we mentioned before, usually if there's a House bill, there's also a Senate bill. And the Senate bill is S-220, a bill to reserve Congress the authority to establish and extend a national monument. This was introduced by Senator Mike Lee from Utah, and this was on the 23rd. So there was one already that was done by the House, like we talked about, and that was again 521 on the 16th. Then we have the Senate one, which is on the 23rd, and now we officially have someone actually putting a bill up to try and get President Trump on Mount Rushmore. Yeah, babes, you heard that right. That's cult. Mind you, they haven't even passed the other two yet, so that's also a possibility that instead of putting him on Mount Rushmore, they would just make one. Yeah, babes. That's a cult.
Listen, I'm like the other dude, bro. I don't see this not happening. I think they're gonna push this through. This may very well be a reality before we know it. Like, how do y'all feel about that? Mount Rushmore? Does he go up there? What do y'all think?
Uber and Lyft drivers are independent contractors. They are responsible for the maintenance of their vehicles, and they have to ensure their vehicles are up to date, that they're drivable and all that. These companies don't pay for any of that. So they also operate on very tight margins. Like every dollar counts for these guys. And they're not out here making, $100,000 a year. They're making, some of them are making minimum wage. By the time they do some maintenance to their car, insurance, gas, and all that, they're not making all that much money. So why would you, as an Uber or a Lyft driver, take a risk at putting a 500 plus pound individual into your vehicle? I wouldn't do it. You couldn't pay me enough money unless maybe Uber and Lyft had a policy saying if something happens because you pick up a really high calorie individual, we're going to pay for the maintenance and the expenses to fix this, then yeah, maybe. But if I'm responsible to pay for all my own and I know that when I put a extremely high calorie individual into my car and they're going to fuck up my I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. It's a business decision. It's a money decision. It's not personal to anyone. It's just like, I know that I'm doing this to make money. I'm not going to do this because it's going to cost me all the money I've made over the last 5 months. and I can't afford that. So you can get offended. But if you are this extreme level of high-calorie individual, you might need to look at fixing your own life before you go and blame Uber and Lyft for not willing to put you in their cars. Now, that's all I'm saying. Uber and Lyft drivers.
I'm with anybody having the right to say who they want and who they don't want in their vehicle. You have that right. But to go out and just say that person is going to damage the vehicle and this, that, and the third, all right, y'all taking it a bit far. Some of your vehicles, okay, cool. You know what I mean? It's on its last leg. I've had vehicles that were on their last leg, and generally anything could have pretty much sent it, you know what I mean? Could have pretty much destroyed the vehicle, anything. But if you have a newer car and everything is fine, you ain't really had no issues with it or nothing like that, then that wouldn't have been a problem. You know what I mean? But like I said, I stand beside people choosing who they want and who they don't want in their vehicle. I stand beside that. But the shaming, the body shaming and all that, come on, miss me with that.
I support the measles vaccine. I support the polio vaccine. I will do nothing as HHS secretary that makes it difficult or discourages people from taking either of those
Anybody
vaccines.
who believes that ought to look at the measles book you wrote saying parents have been misled into believing that measles is a deadly disease. That's not true.
I have you said you were on a show on February 26, 2021, an interview with Dr. Judy Mikovits, where you said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours." Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that to particular antigens that blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that
I don't know. I've been in the black community for a while now, and I would venture to say that I don't think that's true. Not everybody has a strong immune system or different. Everybody has different. I don't think it sees color. You know what I mean? I think people should have been tested to see if they should receive this vaccine, or there should have been different ones out there, and you see which one fits your genetic makeup or your blood type or whatever it is. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think color had anything to do with that.
Isn't it crazy that people had to be convinced to move to Beverly Hills in the 1900s, and now it's one of the most desirable places to live and has some of the most expensive real estate in the world? This was the very first house built in Beverly Hills in 1907. It's on North Cannon Drive, and then below is what it looks like now. Back in 1907, you could buy an entire plot of land ranging from $1,000 to $7,500. Nowadays, that's what you're paying for a square foot. In 1912, the Beverly Hills Hotel was built in order to attract people to Beverly Hills. People would stay here while they looked for land, looked for property. On horse-drawn carriage, it took 3 hours to get from the Beverly Hills Hotel to Hollywood. That is the history of Beverly Hills in a very small nutshell.
The American Airlines plane that went down yesterday that collided into that Army Black Hawk chopper. Does anybody think something is a little suspicious, a little off? Where that plane was flying into isn't that like highly secure, highly watched over airspace? Like nothing should be in or out without anybody knowing what's going on. And if you're a pilot on that chopper and the plane, both, but you're both trained so highly, especially the Black Hawk plane, you guys are trained in daytime, nighttime, war zones, everything. How would a crash like this happen? In looking at this footage, it almost appears that the chopper was flying right for the plane. Could that have been intentional? Could it have been an accident? Of course, yes. But was that chopper hacked? Was it hacked into and somebody took over the control, took over the flight, and essentially made it crash? Were the pilots possibly on a schmooish mission? Or was there possibly a health scare that just, this is an unfortunate accident? As tragic as this is, something in my gut is telling me this is a distraction from something else.
Let's bring in Arthur Rosenberg. He is an aviation attorney. He's a former pilot. Arthur, thank you so much for being here. One thing that listening to Secretary Duffy when he was with Secretary of Defense and the President of the United States there, he said that we want to determine what caused this as quickly as possible. Given the conditions of last night, where it was clear skies and you already have the audio coming out of air traffic control, how quickly can the National Transportation Safety Board determine the cause of this catastrophic accident?
Yeah, so there's two ways to look at that. First, our sympathies go out to the families of the victims and the victims on both the American Airlines flight and on the military Black Hawk helicopter. So the bottom line here is the NTSB has certain timeline protocols. They have to put out an initial statement within 30 days. The final report can take 1 or 2 years. But as a practical matter, from what I've seen and available information, I don't think it would be terribly difficult to determine what the probable cause of this horrible disaster was in relative short order.
Okay, and the president said he would be transparent with us as soon as they have more information, Arthur. But there's two things happening simultaneous here. So one of them is investigating what the actual cause was of the accident. But at the second thing is really sort of reshaping the FAA. And President Trump talked about how in his first term he reversed Obama policies, DEI policies, and then, of course, President Biden came in, reversed those again. He wanted to revert back to looser restrictions that allowed more people who might not have necessarily been qualified to hold those positions within the FAA. How long does it take for an administration that is only 10 days old to reshape, weed out what's not working, and make Americans feel safe in the air again?
Okay, so let's answer this two ways. Let's deal with the objective facts, and then there's the political determinations. In terms of what happened here, from my point of view, this was an air traffic control foul-up. They detoured the plane from its initial runway 1 at Reagan National to runway 33 in Northwest. It brought us closer to the helicopter. There must have been a breakdown in communication between the airplane and the controller and the military Black Hawk helicopter and the controller. By the way, the military pilot is also talking to a military controller. So somehow in that litany of people involved in the sequence of events, there was a breakdown in communication. Now, assuming that this was an air traffic control foul-up, which I do believe it was, if you have a systemic problem within...
And they've been saying it's short-staffed. Somebody stepped down, and all you've been hearing is they were short-staffed. Like, I feel like those type of jobs and tasks are so important that they should never be understaffed. But we need somebody to actually confirm that. Right now, that's just rumor.
The air traffic control within the FAA, from a policy determination, DEI or otherwise, we're going to let the politicians ferret that out. I'm not going to pass judgment on that. Here we have a controller who was speaking to the American Airlines flight. Apparently there was some communication to the Black Hawk pilot. Do you see the other airplane? In that moment, in my view, that was a mistake. The two planes were very close. The controller should have told the helicopter pilot, hold your position, turn left, turn right, climb, descend, basically get the hell out of the way of an American airline plane on final approach. Whether that's DEI, whether it's an overworked controller, whether something missed, something to be determined.
So I want to follow up on some of the funding that we've been talking about with the FAA. I think if anyone has been on an airplane in the last 5 years after COVID, a plane has been delayed because of staffing shortages at the FAA. I don't think anyone wants to be spending more money, right? We all love DOGE because we're focused on exactly where money needs to be going and how to use it efficiently. But is this a question about staffing shortages and funding of FAA?
Yeah, so over the last decade, the number of operations of aircraft moving every single day has absolutely skyrocketed. In my view, the number of controllers, ground and air, has not kept pace with the increased boom in traffic. We need more controllers. We need better trained controllers. The system is growing. You can't have constraints on the people who are issuing commands and controls to aircraft and at the same time have the number of operations skyrocketing. That is a formula for disaster. And unfortunately, last night, we got the first inkling of what that could be. That being said, I want the flying public to know you have about a 1 in 18 million chance of, God forbid, something like this happening. Flying is safe.
You know, that the corridor that we're talking.
That means nothing to me. I hate it when people tell me that you're safer in the air than you. It doesn't seem like it. To me, it doesn't. I can get multiple chances, possibly. Not saying it's gonna happen if I get in a collision. Yes, I can go instantly, but I can also survive it. To me, it's more probable that I survive that than being up in the air. They have no survivors on this one.
Talking about here into DCA is one of the most congested in America. And it got busier, actually, because of the FAA reauthorization bill last year that allowed more flights into DCA. It's been congested for a long time, and there have been a lot of people who can handle that just fine. But do you think it's gotten to a point, especially with the FAA shortages you're talking about, that maybe we shouldn't have so much traffic coming into DCA?
Yeah, so there's a fine balance between economics and safety. The Federal Aviation Administration in our country actually has a dual role, safety and economics. They're in the business of controlling aviation, air traffic controllers, certifying airplanes, and they're also in the business of promoting aviation. Those two things clash at times, and the clash usually manifests itself in something unsafe, an accident happening, which unfortunately is what we have last night. In my view, we need a larger, more robust air traffic control center with the FAA, and we need them in other areas too, including certifying airplanes at Boeing and otherwise. There's just not enough people to go around for the growth that we've experienced in aviation over the last decade.
Arthur, before we go, there was something, this is related to something you said earlier, and I'm just going to read you. This is something that Pete Hegseth said, the defense secretary, related to the accident. He said there was some sort of an elevation issue, talking about the Black Hawk, that we have immediately begun investigating at the DOD. Is he referring to the altitude and the height at which that Black Hawk was flying, the same as that CRJ, the American Eagle flight? Is that what he's referring to? Why was that helicopter and why was that jet, why were they flying at the same elevation and the same altitude?
Okay, so this is not rocket science. When you have a commercial airline at low altitude on final approach, they have priority almost everything else that's going on in the area. Here we had a military Black Hawk helicopter conducting a training operation, basically cut off a commercial airline on final approach. They obviously were at the same altitude, where we're not aware of the altitude differences. Certainly the controllers weren't. But you always give deference to the airplane on short final. Here.
And you know what? Another thing while thinking about this, right? We need to start designing these planes with different materials, bro. The fact that that thing was able to just go within an instant of collision like that screams to me like, no, it should be able to withstand a lot more things. You know, just like the one the president flies on and different things, they need to be made out of that. Like, we are precious cargo on that plane. Y'all are precious cargo on that plane. And it should be able to withstand a collision like that and then be able to be guided back to the ground safely.
The military plane was conducting a training operation. My view is that they probably, the pilot of the Black Hawk was probably using night vision goggles. Night vision goggles are notorious for distorting perception, distances, altitudes, colors. You can see the instruments, it gives you kind of tunnel vision in front of you, but you don't have the same field of vision that you and I have when we walk around the street. Did that contribute? In my view, not knowing all the facts, but I would say based on what I've seen and heard, probably yes.
Arthur, thank you so much. Arthur Rosenberg, we do know that night vision goggles were aboard the helicopter. We will wait to find out if indeed the pilot was wearing them at the time. They were flying VFR of visual flight rules, which is not instrument flight rules, so that's by sight. It was a clear night. But Arthur Rosenberg, thank you so much, sir.